So about 8 years ago, I found out I was pregnant, and the man that I got pregnant with went to prison for trying to kill me. And I remember when I took my pregnancy test, my mom was living with me for the first time in I think 11 years, and she said, you're gonna make an appointment at the abortion clinic, right? And not knowing what to do, I was like, yeah, I think so. So I called and I made an appointment right away. And my friend Heather, who was also living with me, and my mother, brought me to the abortion clinic. And I remember we missed the driveway, and I said by accident, but there was no accident. And we actually went with what is now, I believe, called the Omega House. And there was a woman out there, and I remember going, oh, I'm sorry, we're not supposed to park here. And she was like, oh, do you have an appointment down there? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, oh, please park here. And so we parked there, and I remember her coming up to me asking me, so do you know what you're doing? And do you know what procedure you have? Do you know how far along you are? And she wasn't bombarding me with questions. She was very welcoming, very loving, very caring, and which went against everything that the abortion clinic said on the phone when I made my appointment. They said, watch out for the picketers. And I said, well, what's a picketer? And they said they're gonna try and talk you out of getting an abortion, so watch out for them. They're mean people. I remember her saying that they were mean people. So I went in, and my friend Heather was with me, and I asked her to go get my stuffed animal out of the car because I had a stuffed animal with me. And she went out, and she come back in with a little rubber baby from the sidewalk counselor, Mary Burwise. And I remember looking at the baby saying, I'm sorry, but you're gonna die. I remember holding that baby and just doing this, I'm sorry, but you're gonna die. And it's crazy to think that I felt like I didn't even care, like I was gonna kill my baby, but I didn't know what else to do because I just didn't know what else to do. As I was sitting in the clinic with Heather, and I gave her the baby back, and I said, go ahead and give this back to that woman and tell her thank you, but I'm going through with it. I remember hearing a woman off to my left. She looked so heartbroken. She said to her boyfriend, or that man she was with, I'm pregnant with twins. And even though I knew I was there, and I just felt like what I was doing was okay, my heart broke for her. I believe the third procedure was the ultrasound, and they want to make sure that you know how far along you are for what procedure to get done. I remember the screen, and I could see Ariana on the screen, and it was like a full baby. You could see a full baby on the screen. And I kept asking, what's that, what's that, what's that? And nobody would answer me. And I got so upset, and I was like, I know you guys can hear me. What is this? Dr. Gordon said, that's your fetus. And I said, I didn't know what a fetus was. And I was like, what's a fetus? And I remember him rolling his eyes and sighing and saying, that thing growing inside of you. And I can remember that like it was yesterday. And from that moment on, things started changing. They give you an opportunity to have a picture of your ultrasound. And I checked yes, and they gave it to me before I went outside. And there was Mary again, and she was just like, what are you doing? Why are you coming back out? And I can't remember everything we talked about, but she asked to see the picture, and I showed her the picture, and I just remember her crying. I didn't look at it like I was killing a child, and so why is she crying? Like, I don't know. I come in here with my quarter, nickel, and dime rolls, and it's like, do this or pay rent. But if I keep this child, how am I going to keep paying rent? Because children have to cost money. What was I going to do? I didn't make enough money to do both. I went back into my last procedure before the actual abortion, and that was the counseling session. I remember sitting down and just crying hysterically, and she never looked at me. And I said, "What is wrong with you?" And she looked up at me for the first time after I said that. And I had to have been crying for, I don't know, probably 3 to 5 minutes. And I said, "Give me my bleeping money back." But I went out, and that woman with the twins was sitting out there, and I can't remember my exact words, but I said something, I screamed and cried, something along the lines of, "Save your babies, don't get an abortion." And I heard that possibly 2 women walked out after me screaming that on my way out of the abortion clinic that day. And I had no idea how much of an impact my life was, and my daughter's life, who wasn't even born yet, was going to have on other people. And shortly after that, with Cradles of Grace, I went to a Joyce Meyer concert. And there was another woman who was pregnant, who was undecided about getting an abortion, was also there. Joyce Meyer did the altar call, and I remember my heart just pounding, just like, do it, do it. Ariana was 3 weeks old, and Carol was out with the other girl having contractions really early, and so I didn't know what to do with my daughter, and I can't believe I did this. I turned to this woman, and she's like, "Do you want to go up there?" And I'm like, yeah. And she just kind of put her arms out, and I like threw my baby to her, threw my daughter to this woman, this complete stranger. And I'm just like, this woman held onto my baby, and I went up front, and I remember holding everybody's hands. We were all holding hands right in front of the stage, all down in front of Joyce Meyer, and I just remember bawling. And this woman, and I'm looking around, and I'm not the only one crying, and I'm just like, this must be right. It must be right. And my life has been so different ever since. And going to college, I went to college, and I just got my degree in early childhood development. So that's really exciting. For the 8 years that I have been involved in Cradles, Cradles has been a huge part of my daughter's life. From going from being saved to being baptized, to encouraging me to go to college, and not to mention my car breaking down and Carol loaning me their family's cars. Like, she was like, "Oh, the devil's not gonna stop you from going to college, girl. We're gonna get you there, don't you worry." And you know, she was always there. She, not like I could just call her and her give me everything. She would encourage me to seek out other ways as well, but you know, she was always there for me no matter what. Like, "Here, borrow our car. You're going to school, girl. Don't worry about it." And before I was introduced to Cradles of Grace, I never had a relationship with God. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know who God was, who Jesus was, who the Holy Spirit was. Through Cradles, you know, I was saved, I was baptized. I've been taught about the love of Christ, and that I am loved. I'm loved by Him. That I don't have to have it all together to be loved. That I don't have to have it all together to be saved. And that I know today that I'm going to heaven, and I'm really excited about that, to know that. And Cradles is a huge part of that. They have just loved me up and down for 8 years, just through all my ugliness and everything, and just never turned their back on me. I'm forgiven for all the things that, all my sins, that they are washed away. I am clean, and I am a child of God, and I am so excited to be able to say that and know what that means today. So now I am trying to be a part of Teen Cradles. So I've just graduated Cradles of Grace, and I'm really excited to be able to give back to Cradles. And really, it's not so much about giving back to Cradles, it's giving back to Jesus, because Cradles has helped me so much become the woman that I am today, but really it's Jesus using Carol and all of these wonderful women that she so carefully chooses. I don't know who chooses the women, but man, they're good. They get some awesome people to be a part of Cradles. I'm excited to give back to Cradles and to Jesus, and to give my story and my testimony to hopefully bring people to know our forgiving Father, our loving Father, and that He is always there for us, and that even when we mess up, it's okay. It's okay. Get back up. You know, you got this, girl. You're gonna be fine. And I have amazing stories that I just wish we had more time to tell, time and time again, of when I knew He pulled me out of a crazy situation, when He spoke through me. He's always there, even when we don't see Him, and maybe we don't feel Him, maybe we don't see Him, but He's there. And there's so many times that He's just gotten me through a lot of things. And I pray through my story, through my testimony, that many come to know who He is, and that I get to see them in heaven when that time comes. And when I go to heaven, I just praying that I brought a lot of people with me.